Take off here, my marker.
Well, you sure you don't want to?
That's the one. St. Louis Christian College.
Does you want these? No, thank you. I'm all alone and I got more to eat in my house than I do. I'll let you go. Keep going to, South Dakota. I got that pan. I got that pan, I think, long. Can you believe, it's obviously, Nikki took it, I think she said 7. She didn't take the van. But they go all the way to South Carolina, South Dakota, to go to chiropractic.
Oh my gosh. Never heard of such a thing.
That's what they did.
Oh my
God,
gosh.
it was different about them. I bet.
Don't you want to play in the hot for yours?
No.
Huh?
No. Any glass wine is good. No, thank you.
You all did good on the tacos.
They were good.
Okay. Yep.
Get a hold of them.
Who?
The crew. Hey, why you got that phone out making note to take Mary Anderson off the birthday list?
Marianne who?
Mary Anderson. Mary Anderson, you got her on.
Oh, okay.
I'm not sure about Billy and Wanda Smith.
Okay.
Are they both still alive or not?
I think Wanda is.
That's Carla's mother and dad, right?
Yeah.
Because you got them on the anniversary list.
Okay.
I'm not sure about both of them.
Okay. No problem.
I could use your help today.
Oh, better hurry, they're putting the food away.
Oh,
Must be looking for something to eat.
oh, I'm always.
You better get something fast because they're putting things away.
How you all doing?
Takes a lot to fuel boys like that.
No, it's fine.
Yeah.
No. You want tacos?
I tell you, that's not a flattering picture of me for the thumbnail on YouTube, but you know, it'll make sure that only the dedicated watch.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. We definitely don't have any flash. We might even have anti-flash.
Anti-flash.
Want to be unpopular? Look at that. It's terrible.
That's funny.
Do you want chocolate chip?
Ooh, I better just stick with the pineapple.
What do you have, the chocolate?
There's, potatoes and gravy and meat here.
Okay.
You're supposed to let us know you're coming.
Yeah, we wouldn't have,
We wouldn't
Oh.
started holding up some.
Oh, no. That was my fault.
Oh my, I too much.
Here, why don't you get another plate?
Alex, has Bob been making a pickleball or not?
Yep, we played
I haven't seen him.
together yesterday.
Is that him playing on the other end yesterday or? I
Yeah.
seen you bat the ball back and forth when I went to the rest of it.
There's just 4 of us there yesterday, so yep.
I didn't see Bob.
He got there a little later. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Yep. Okay. We're there. We're live.
You won't be able to do it for a while.
So everything you say is now recorded for all time.
I try to walk a lot today.
So you want to tell us about that turkey, Paul? Just for posterity's sake? No? Okay. All right.
Mickey says his arm won't work that way for a while.
Yep. He needs to take it easy, make sure and recover full. I know it's tempting to get back out there feeling good a little
Swing
bit.
that arm a lot.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Have you just in time, friend?
Talking about making shit. What happened to him?
Oh,
That bone spur.
bone spur, yeah. They thought it was rotator's cuff issue, but I think it was a bone spur is what it come out to, so he had to have surgery on it. So he's having a lot of therapy. He had a sling for a while, but he got it off. Now he has to move it around and do some exercises with it.
Yeah, I said that.
But it's still working?
A couple weeks ago, we had that
Like
slate.
it never stays working.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, why are you driving it? Why isn't it posted for sale?
It is posted for sale.
Well, quit driving it. That's up.
Did you want some of these soft?
Where'd you get the potatoes?
Yes, please.
It's early.
Just 2 of them is fine.
They went there when I went last. Twice.
Yeah, need for 2 or 3, I don't know, but 2 is great plenty. Anybody want to use Thank you.
We are there. We're ready. Okay. A couple weeks ago, I remember I was driving through, I had to go to Indiana to pick up my broken down van. And I had to go through Illinois. And I tell you, it's a whole different feeling going through Illinois. Because like when you stop somewhere, I mean, everywhere you go, there's masks and there's mandatory social distancing. There's somebody there policing you. And I tell you, it's crossing the border to Missouri. I felt like I was a free man again.
You finally take a breath. Quit holding your breath.
Oh yeah. I mean, they were outside the gas stations and the restaurants, like 20 feet away, saying, "Get your mask on." It's like, wow. Okay.
Mask police.
Yeah.
Well, we have a nephew that comes to vacation sometime, and he lives in Arkansas. Of course, Arkansas has been kind of a
Big
hot spot,
That's
Good.
but his
pretty
boss
good.
told him if he came to Missouri, he had to
So what you been up
quarantine
to
for 2
today?
weeks with him. And I
I've
said,
been pressure washing.
you know, we were
Pressure
very
washing,
few
what's pressure
miles
washing?
into Missouri from
It's
Arkansas.
not good.
And there
Oh,
was, I said, I think
just
he
pressure
probably
washing, or you
didn't
gonna
want-
stain it?
didn't want to stay there more.
Oh boy,
Yeah.
very good sprayer. Like one of those pump up sprayers, you can spray stain through that.
Oh,
Mhm.
really?
Well, is it a colored stain or is it clear cut? Probably
Should
shouldn't do that.
should you
Because
hear
clear
of
cut doesn't
New
matter.
York, they must quarantine for
I
2
don't know
weeks.
about
I don't know what
the
other
other sprays
stuff
dripping,
is.
seeing, but
But Jefferson City was still mostly shut down. Like, I mean,
yeah,
we were able to sit in
stain
and eat
brushes.
at Steak and Shake, but we wanted to go to Steak and Shake, and they weren't open.
It
You
is.
could only do drive-through.
Definitely that.
So we ended up having to go to Golden Corral, which was not a top choice for us, but
Yeah,
it's what you could sit down at.
I sold my
Oh, well.
pressure washer.
I wanted
used
a vanilla shake.
It's sitting there. It's too much to pressure wash my car with, so I'll get rid of it. Oh, it's too much power. So.
Well, Josh, are we
Get-
gonna
get
have a
off
fifth Sunday dinner?
3,100 PSI. or
Ooh, that's a
whatever
good question.
it was. Yeah.
Guess we gotta talk about that, huh?
We have to talk about that. Don't forget to talk about Sunday.
I'll write it down.
Talk about what?
If we're gonna have a fifth Sunday dinner.
Oh, yeah.
Well, you just set a date on the picnic to
So you're gonna get your stuff in electrical.
September.
My water hose does just fine.
I guess we can have it, it's outside, spread out.
I take it to the car wash every once in a while and get this deluxe stuff on it. And it's supposed to help bugs and prevent it, and it comes off easier. So I alternate. Wash it by hand and let the machine do it. So I don't drive a whole lot.
Yeah, they told me that on the 2 different ones. I could never
At least not on county roads and stuff anymore.
He said, Doug, and he said, and I'm not hungry, but. he
So if
said,
there's no
"I
fifth
smell
Sunday
chicken."
dinner, does that mean I have to take the full sermon time? Can't cut it off early?
He said, "Cookies."
Doubtful.
Wait a minute.
I think we could have it. Just tell people in advance and
Well, I mean, we had 120 some places for people to sit for the Lincoln Day, and it was all social distance.
yeah.
And it took all the tables and chairs that we had, so
Yeah.
It's,
spaced them out.
Yeah.
What is,
I don't see it. I mean, it's an internal event, you know, it's not a community event.
Maybe only thing we probably need to add to it is get some people to dip food for people instead of everyone touching it. Might be something to consider anyway.
It's an idea. Problem is it'd take twice as long to get through the line.
Yeah.
And if you look at NYR, it's not how we did it.
Well,
We had 70 people there and everybody was fine. I'm not sure I'd worry about it too much.
You said you went to Golden Corral, how did you still dip your whole your food?
Yep. But you had to,
Because you were there for a long time, you couldn't have your face on.
yeah, you had to use the hand sanitizer first. But that was fun. You had to wear, the dumb part was you had to wear a mask until you sat down. That was annoying.
Do you want some hard
I
shells
read
too?
or heard on TV or something, someplace,
Oh, I forgot about that.
first you got to take off your mask.
Okay.
So if you got up,
Yeah.
to go to the restroom or whatever, you had to put on your mask. I don't remember where that was.
Right.
I know Columbia's got a, you know, everybody's got their own mask. Because we haven't been down, well, we've been through, but we didn't stop.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, I never understood that. Take your mask off when you sit down. 'Cause when I'm at a buffet, I always want to try what I want to eat while I'm
Oh,
up
that's
there.
gross.
Kidding with you.
I like the variety at Golden Corral, but I'd rather have steak and shake.
Really?
So how was pressure washing?
Wanted them, so I started
You hate it. Got it.
I don't like
big
pressure.
pan and I mixed a little bit of salsa with them. And then put the cheese on them.
Was it cold or hot?
And then like
I felt fine, I was just soaked.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
That's it.
refried
Big
beans.
deck.
It is a very big deck.
You get tired of it after an hour.
Oh, yeah. That wand, like you go to the car wash, that wand will wear you out after a while.
Mm-hmm.
You got a big vehicle. Like I had to wash Jim's truck the other week when I borrowed it. That took a while, and that wore me out.
Sure.
You know, you had to get up in the bed to reach the top and to clean it. You know, I mean, it was, yeah, it was really something. It's a big vehicle. But I tell you, it pulled my van like it wasn't even trying.
Did that one have air conditioned seats?
No, but it had air conditioning, which was good enough. And it had I got 14 miles of the gallon going down to get it, and I got 13 coming back. Like the van barely put any effort on it. It's a 4,500 pound van, and it was just like,
That's impressive.
it was. When I disconnected, I could barely tell it wasn't attached.
Wow.
Early grade school.
Had a big old 7 or 8 liter V8 in it. I mean, massive engine.
Now you can put towing cars on your list of things you've done.
Did I tell you I had to call AAA because the van, I got it pulled up 3/4 of the way up the dolly, and then it quit.
Really?
So I had to call AAA to do the shortest tow ever, 6 inches to get it on the dolly.
Yeah, nobody else was going
That's
to.
I had the worst luck on that trip.
Amy was
It
fine.
was just bad.
But then Paul
It's okay.
came-
We got the van fixed, sold it to Mawkins. We're done. We're done. It's over.
Let somebody else worry about it.
Yep. I'm done. Not going to deal with it anymore. Not selling it privately again. We're done. Over. Although it drove to Columbia like a champ once I got it fixed. It was a $22 part.
Really? That's it?
That's it.
Wow.
That's what caused all that headache. I hate cars.
$22 part.
And I had to wait 2 days for U-Haul to get me a dolly that worked.
Yeah.
The first dolly they gave me broke.
Mm-hmm.
Thankfully, it broke in their parking lot. Been
Yeah.
terrible if it had broken halfway down the road. But
Oh, so you used one of those dollies where just the front 2 wheels went up?
Yeah.
Okay, so you didn't have to have a big trailer.
Mm-mm.
Okay, I see what you did now.
Yep. But you had to get the van up on the dolly.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Then just quit.
That's funny.
So the guy said this was the highest dollar per mile tow he had ever done.
No, I'm really surprised at that point you were just like, I'm just going to back it into it and force it.
I did think about setting the van on fire, but since it was insured, I would be, you know. But then I thought if I labeled it a peaceful protest, it would be fine,
Yeah.
you know. But
What would your protest be labeled?
anti-van.
Anti-van.
Yeah. Yeah. It's okay. It's over. I'll get over it.
Now think how your son feels having a golf cart and put so much money into it. Yours was just a $22 part. He's put a lot more parts in his golf cart.
Yeah.
Always have to bring up the golf cart, just so you know, Jonathan.
Can we go get that tire from Rick for that?
Yep. Did you find your trailer yet?
No, not yet. Still looking.
It's hard to find a used trailer worth buying.
Yeah. Well, trailers now just went way up in price for some reason. Who knows why? Like,
Well, it's because certain parts are hard to manufacture right now.
so.
That's, I mean, it's true in every industry.
I mean, probably a year ago, trailers 6x10 would have been like $700. Now they're up $1,300. I'm like, I'd go buy a new one for that price.
Yep.
It doesn't matter. The new ones all went up $200, and used went up a ton. So.
I bought my trailer 2 years ago at Lowe's for $600, and because I bought a used one and it was a piece of junk, and I'm not doing this again.
Yeah. Yep. So I just sold the trailer that I had not long ago. Wish I would have kept it now.
Yeah.
So now my rule is keep my trailer. You never know what.
You live in rural Missouri. I've learned you need a truck, you need a trailer, even if it's just a small little thing like I got, but you're gonna need it.
Yeah.
Never would have thought twice about it in the city,
Yeah.
but neither around here. Well, we're gonna have a semi-short lesson today. It's all good. But Dylan Velda can join us today. Larry and Jane Ann and anybody else who wants to watch. Jim and Carol or Danny and Paula. There's a variety. Yeah, they remember the couple that came with Tom and Charlene that one time? Charlene and
It's
Tom.
her daughter, wasn't it?
Yes, I think so. Yep, and her husband. Yep. Yep. They live at their house. At least I think they still do at this time. So, yep. Anybody else? Because I just put it on Facebook so other people may just tune in. The thumbnail it shows was terrible. So if somebody tunes in, they're maybe looking away from the camera. It was just my face, like a bad angle.
On the deal with my dad, so might be getting that.
16 foot. Need that big. Where are you gonna put that?
Well, here's the deal, John. When you get something for a good deal, may as well do it.
Get the 16-foot, sell it, and get a good 10-foot, and keep the difference. There we go. Yeah,
I'm gonna be posting on sale. Trade for aluminum 6x10 trailer.
yeah, something.
There you go. That'd be
Yeah.
a nice trailer.
I don't think I'd want anything longer. I've got a, what is ours, a 6x8, I think. Yeah, I think that's right. Yeah, it's a 6x8. It's just right.
Yours 6 foot wide?
No, it's not.
Oh, is it 4?
Yeah,
It's a
4x8.
That's a 4x8.
Yeah, my
Sure
golf
about
cart
that?
won't even fit on it.
No, his golf cart won't. It was hanging out the back. We had to.
Well, my golf cart's 4 foot wide. Fit perfectly.
Well, we serve them.
But my golf cart's 9 foot, so.
I bought it for my lawnmower, not a golf cart.
Yeah. You have a small model. Well, you don't have to keep your.
42 inches.
Yeah.
It's medium size. More than my yard needs.
Yeah.
I can blow right through it. I bought it when we had a 2-acre yard, not a 1 1/4.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Tell you what, it's nice having a zero turn to mow the church's yard. I can't imagine using old normal steering. It's gonna take forever.
Yeah, I told you that.
Oh yeah, no way. Once you have a 0 turn, it's very hard to go back.
It is.
Very
I know for
hard.
someone that had one of those, and I was like, I'm sorry for how bad it looks. I haven't drove one of these since I was 13.
Oh no, it's hard to go back. And mine's a single joystick 0 turn, so it's
Oh, yeah.
super easy.
Yeah.
Once you go there, it's hard to go back to the 2 control version.
Well, I let Chris hop on the zero turn to like move it out of the way while I was doing something. I didn't know he never rode one before. It started going, it ran into my fan. I'm like, you don't know how to drive a zero turn? He's like, I never did it before. I'm like, you should have told me that. We're able to been played and it was fine. It's pretty funny the look on his face, like I don't know what I'm doing.
You men don't want to admit that you don't know how to do it.
Correct.
That's,
No, that's stereotyping.
that's the truth.
There's a reason why stereotypes are
Yeah.
real,
Uh-huh.
because they apply to most people.
No, I'm with you. I'm that way unless it's dangerous, like electricity. That's what I'll call someone else. And it's that guy. You know how you mentioned I needed a light at that one area in my garage? And I was like, oh, I don't need it there. I was messing with the golf cart battery. It's like, golly, it's dark here. I need a light. He was right.
No, I always go with more lights and more outlets than you think you'll need.
Yeah.
I built my addition. There are 58 outlets, I think.
In the addition?
Uh-huh.
Wow.
Yeah, there's 6 per bedroom and 3 out in the hallway. And Kara wanted a ton, so there's like 20 something in her room.
Wow.
She wanted them both higher and lower every 6 feet.
Really? Whatever she wants.
And we used to think we were lucky if you had one plug in a room.
Oh yeah,
That was it, one plug in of 2.
Yeah.
and the whole house would be on like 2 circuits, so you had to be careful what you plugged in. Yeah, 30 amp boxes were some of the earliest boxes.
Yeah.
You can overwhelm 30 amps in a hurry.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's just a dryer by itself. That's it.
Yeah.
No lights, no nothing.
Huh. So when refrigerators and all that stuff first came out, but that was all interesting to get it all.
Mm-hmm.
Not very many people had them
Right.
when they first come out. That was something not too many people had.
They just screw in fuses.
Funny story about that refrigerator is I think someone in my family is a great something aunt or someone, well, their house just got a refrigerator. And she herself picked up that refrigerator and carried it out herself. This adrenaline kicked in. She carried that thing out. Like, what?
Jean, who she was, her name from Cali. She was
Time for dessert,
in
Jonathan.
your mother's extension club. Jean. Can't think of her name. Anyway, she always talked
Don't
about,
leave
she
your
says
food
if you
laying
have a
around.
fire, it dates you from the rest of your life.
They're
You know,
getting
it's either
colder.
before the fire or after the fire. And she says that fire, she
sitting
says
next to him in
they
his chair.
hollered, the house was on fire and they were shelling peas or beans, peas, I guess. And she says, all I thought to pick up was that pea. You said instead of all the things she could have picked up, she says it was too late, you know, she couldn't go back. And that's all she could think of was that dishpan full of pea. Funny
That Jean
afterwards.
Burnham.
Burnham, that's who it was. Do you remember her?
What was the first name?
Jean Burnham,
They sound
Sounds
like
familiar.
Yeah, what for?
Delbert. And they had
How'd your time with,
Kids.
what's her name
trying to think what their kids, was it Debbie?
Yeah.
They had a girl and a
Like
boy.
for yesterday or something.
Oh,
go?
one
They
of
went again?
Jackie
Let's
was
talk about
married to your
Never told me
cousin.
about it.
Jackie
heard
Burnham.
secondhand.
Jackie, wasn't that the boy, and he got cancer.
It went great.
Good. What'd you do yesterday?
Well,
But I
we
couldn't
were
believe
gonna
like
go watch a movie and
the house is on fire and the only thing you could think of to grab, but you just got too shook, I guess.
Yeah.
I wouldn't No,
Yeah.
And
I think our
so
brain, brain just goes in overload.
for him, so he didn't have to go do that.
You don't
So,
watch Harry Potter?
no, so I don't even know what the road is, but then it's something with,
Yeah.
then he just wants his son there. Wants to go see.
Right on. Good.
Mostly water down
And that
here.
reminds me,
Anyway, but every
I
night.
need your keys for that ballroom,
Case in
so I can
first, it's in there.
put stuff back. Harley accidentally shut it.
Okay.
The lantern, key,
Sounds good. We can do that
turn on the
afterwards.
light,
We're about to start lessons. So.
then tomorrow,
I noticed the net was taken out.
Sure
Why don't we
does.
keep the net down?
Yeah. You want it? I'll get you some.
You know, I was thinking the way the 2 basketball goals are, that's not too bad a distance to run back and forth and play action.
What's another minute at this point?
So we might do that Wednesday or.
It's important to have your tea.
You gonna be here Wednesday? Probably back to your mom's birthday. Okay.
Thing had a bunch of forts in it. Not forts, but spoons.
I know Virgil's a time stickler, and I'm kind of the opposite, so we're a good balance for each other.
Are you all in a hurry? He's the time stickler.
Yeah.
I'm the opposite.
I'm times 2.
Aren't I, dear?
Where are we at?
You said it.
2 Thessalonians 3.
Revelation.
I thought we had that one.
advantage of this while you can. I'm older than you. Christian
That's, I
Olsen
know.
used to live over at Macon. She went to Crossroads. She also went here for a while.
Any other
too.
time
Dorothy Holman. She always said the good Lord won't put opposites together so that they'll She always believed that God had done that purposely, because he knew we needed somebody to calm her.
Yep. That's for sure.
My page number is 1010 if you need help finding it.
Thank you for that, Alex.
Hey, it helps Virgil. We got the same Bible.
He's always so full of useful information. Okay. Well, welcome. I am glad to be back. It was a fun trip, but the beds were terrible, so I was daydreaming about my bed about halfway through the trip, and when I got home, I slept for 12 straight hours. So I was tired.
Where'd you go?
It's Lake of the Ozarks.
Oh, okay.
We got a cabin.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
That's what I was
Yeah,
thinking.
it was fun. Kara and Jonathan and Harley went parasailing.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Was that
Yeah.
fun?
It was pretty fun actually, but I mean it's kind of scary at first.
I was gonna say,
It is
when it started going up.
Yeah.
Although-
It scared
Go
me
ahead.
to death.
What they do is they slowly release you, then they have you shoot right back.
Uh,
Then you start going.
Is that how they catch the air?
Probably.
Go all
You were
along.
in freshwater, so you didn't see the sharks.
I do too.
The most fun thing though, because we watched them from a distance. The most fun part about the parasailing wasn't the parasailing. It's the guy in the boat whose job was there's two pilots in the boat essentially. One of them was there to more or less pilot the boat, and the other one was there to watch the crank and also to take pictures because you pay for a picture package. Well, he turned around and saw Harley and fell out of the boat.
It was pretty awesome.
Did you get that picture?
I don't know. I haven't seen them all, but the other driver was so embarrassed. He's like, "That's never happened before."
Oh my gosh, girl.
Yep, that was pretty great.
Wow.
We're pretty used to it with Harley around.
We
You
got
know, we've
to
probably
know
caused
that.
traffic accidents and didn't know it.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, that's what happens when you got a pretty daughter.
I had one like that.
Good
No,
times. Well, we are in 2 Thessalonians chapter 3.
I've got it really.
This is we're towards the end of the book, but with 18 minutes left, we're
Oh, we could go over a little bit.
Two
Well,
words.
Oh, we're gonna start starting earlier. We'll be eating at noon instead of coming in here at 5.
even 12:15 is better than 12:30. You know, really.
Yeah, but if
Yeah.
we'd come earlier, that was.
Well, and I should have got more. She had the less because I had her get me ahead, so we had to cut it.
Well, but here's the deal. Like, I don't think I have any right to complain because I'm not cooking. So I get it. You know.
Well, there
That's
are
exactly
times, you know, when something happens that
Yeah, sure.
takes
Well, I
a
need
little
to
longer
get her
than what you
earlier,
might.
and I just couldn't. I had to run back in the house to get my phone and my list for town. Just
Yep. Yep.
Some days
couldn't
it
get
goes
myself going.
It's all right. If we can start a little earlier, all the better. But in the end, I'll leave that to you. Well, would somebody read? Now, this is a little bit long, but it all goes together, and we really need to read it all together. So 2 Thessalonians chapter 3, starting at verse 7, all the way through 13.
7.
For you yourselves know how you ought to follow us. For we were not disorderly among you, nor did we eat anyone's bread free of charge, but worked with labor and toil night and day, that we might not be a burden to any of you. Not because we do not have authority, but to make ourselves an example of how you should follow us. For even when we were with you, we commanded you this: if anyone will not work, neither should he eat. For we hear that there are some who walk among you in a very disorderly manner, not working at all, but are busybodies. Now, those who are such we command and exhort through our Lord Jesus Christ, that they work in quietness and eat their own bread.
One more.
But as for you, brethren, do not grow weary in doing good.
Okay. Thank you, Shirley. This is the section of Scripture with that famous phrase, he who shall not work shall not eat. This is something our culture today could pay attention to. That'd be nice.
I need to tell Gus that.
Hey, he was sweeping the other day. He was working hard.
A little bit. I asked him to help me yesterday. No.
But what I find encouraging about this passage, if I can be so bold, is that there were lazy people 2,000 years ago.
Busybodies.
There are busybodies, and there's lazy people and busybodies today.
Exactly.
Scripture is eternally applicable. So, but there's even more to talk about than just that. Like if you go back to verses 7 through 10, or 7 through 9, Paul's talking about that while they were there, Paul and his companions, that they chose not to be paid, but rather to work while they were there. Now, remember, this is a church under persecution. Do you think they had much to spare? No, they didn't. And so Paul made the choice that they would work while they were there and they wouldn't be a burden to anybody. And it's interesting how he puts this, because he says it's not that we don't have the right, but we gave up that right because of the situation you're in. And if you remember from the first book, this church was under such heavy persecution, he eventually had to leave. It was that bad. And so something I talk to the preacher boys about, and I talk to any young man who's thinking about ministry, is you need to have a marketable skill outside of the pulpit.
That's exactly right.
You need that. Because there may be a time, whether you're in a church or not preaching, that you need to be able to produce an income. You know, Paul was a tent maker, Jesus was a carpenter, Peter and James and John were fishermen. You know, you can go on and on and on. They had the ability to make money.
But anybody needs to do that,
Yes.
particularly now. This year ought to teach everyone that.
Yes, absolutely. In fact, it's something I've emphasized to my own children, and we talk about it at youth group. You gotta have real skills that the market cares about.
Multiple skills.
Yeah, multiple skills. And also, if you're as smart as an adult, you never stop learning. You know, you're always open to learning something new. You know, when one of the guys around here is going to go work on concrete or plumbing or carpentry, if I'm free, I go watch him or try to help because I want to learn. You know, not because I think I'm going to get paid for doing any of it, but because it's useful to have those skills. You know,
It
Jonathan's
is.
benefited from
Yeah,
that
if you've
quite a
got
bit.
a home, it's useful.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. So there's a lot here to absorb. But I do like how Paul puts it there. Like, you know, we could have asked, but we decided not to because we could provide for ourselves. Also, I think he was setting a leadership example. And I think the Bunzies reflect this in Haiti and other places. If you go to a place that's poor or under persecution, and in Haiti in particular, they deal with this. They deal with people who are unemployed, who don't work, and who expect free things.
I
Well,
expect it.
yeah, so they have to set an example in leadership to work. Like, hey, we're not freeloading either. You know what I mean? And so this was a problem at this church because, you know, you do look at verses 11 through 12, and it talks about those who are undisciplined, those doing no work at all, those who are busybodies. And instead, Paul tells them that's no way to live. You need to work in quiet, fashion, and eat your own bread. That is it's amazing how relevant that is. It is. In fact, in certain circles, if you would read this, it would probably be considered some kind of anathema or some kind of scourge, you know, or even a political statement. What do you mean I have to work to eat? You know what I mean? And no, it's just a fact. It's something that God expects of us. So notice how Paul does this. He sets an example. He tells them what not to do, and then he tells them what to do. So he does what he's supposed to do, and because of that, as a leader, he has the right then to tell them what's wrong. One rule I learned in leadership from an old preacher a long time ago is don't expect anybody in your congregation to do something you yourself are not willing to do. That's very important. You know, I think I've washed dishes at Daytimers once.
I remember that. I couldn't quite believe it.
Oh, that's right. What was it he had?
Well, Dolores was not feeling well.
Yeah,
So
and he went in.
So I jumped in, and I mean, it was so silly because I felt like I was getting all this praise for doing something Dolores had done 1 billion times, you know. So I went up to her and I said, I'm sorry I'm getting all this attention for what you normally do for no attention. Of course, she was gracious as always. But
I'll do the cups today.
Yeah, but thanks, Alex. I'll do plates. What they tell other people to do. I think one of the most classic examples of this is, well, it's somebody else's job to go visit, or it's somebody else's job to go do this, that, or the other. And it's like, no, nope, that doesn't work that way. the moment you hop into leadership, you better be willing to do whatever needs done. You know? If you can't tell, I'm not the world's best renovator. What do you call that? When you redo a room? Remodel. I'm not the best remodeler. But, you know, when we had this weird shutdown thing, you know, Alex and I redid the nursery. And, you know, he led the way kind of on that. I was sort of his henchman.
Really?
Yeah, we redid the nursery. And,
It looks nice.
you know, it's not my forte, but you do what you need that needs done, you know. It should just be second nature. In fact, my dad, growing up in the computer store, he told me, you're never too good to sweep the floor.
And so many think they are.
Yeah. You graduate college or whatever and you think you're all that. No. There's always a floor that needs to be swept, and if you're the nearest person to the broom, pick up the broom.
We attempted a
Don't-
plumbing
I
project.
feel like that. If there's something to be done and somebody sees it to do, it's not gonna hurt them to go
Yeah.
ahead and do it.
Just do it.
If they, and in a job, you know, going to work for somebody, if you have that kind of, they
Attitude.
really think a lot of you.
That's something I've really drilled into my kids, and I think, you know, Jonathan, of course, self-employed, doing well, but Lane and Harley at their workplaces, you know, they don't complain, they go in early, they stay late, they do what needs done, and it really pays off. Like, they've discovered that their employers love them.
And of course they do.
Yeah, you know,
And
Lane got a
they-
10%
kids need to
raise
know
last
that.
time. That's just nuts, especially in the era of COVID. Yeah, but that's how much they like him.
I had several teenagers, and only a couple of them, can I say, were good employees. They,
Yeah,
you know, and a lot of it is willingness.
Yep.
Just willingness to try and to do. So many just like you look at it like you're supposed to entertain them or something.
Entertain.
I love
Well,
that.
that's how they act.
I
I'm
love
sorry,
that sign at
that's
your
how they
store
act.
that was out there, like, browsers are appreciated, but buyers are loved, or something like that.
You enter as strangers and leave as friends.
Okay, that one too.
What was it? Enter as strangers and leave as friends.
Hopefully buying friends.
That's how you really make friends. When you're a small
Linda.
business, that's why.
Linda knows how I am.
Yeah, yeah, I understand. So there's a lot here that's still very relevant to this day. Also, this isn't the only place it mentions this, but it says work in quiet. What does that make you think of? Like, what does that bring to mind?
No loud radios on the workplace.
I don't think so, Alex, but thank you for that.
Well, yeah.
Well,
I'll
that's
just
where-
pull it off.
He's talking about gossip.
That's one, yes. Yep, that's very good, because that plays in with the busybody thing.
Yeah.
Right. So when
Keep
we're,
your mind on your work.
yeah, keep your mind on your work. What else?
Don't go brag to everybody what you did.
That's true.
Yeah.
Also, don't worry about what anybody else is doing. I can't tell you how many workplaces I've been in where people, instead of working, are complaining about how somebody else isn't working. Well, while you're complaining,
Yeah.
you're not working either.
Yeah.
So forget about it. Don't worry about what, and that's what something else I told my kids. You're going to have lazy coworkers. You're going to have bad coworkers. You can't worry about them. You focus on what you're doing. In fact, when I was a shift leader at Hardee's, I used to have what's called the UO. Every night somebody would be called the UO if there was anybody lazy on site. So I'd go up to them, I'd smile real big and be like, "So are you the UO for tonight?" And they'd look at me like, "Oh, is that a good thing?" I'm like, "Yeah, you're the useless one. Why are you here? You're not doing anything."
Put the picture on the board, the UO of the day.
This is back in the 90s when you wouldn't get sued over that, you know. But
That's a good one.
the UO, the useless one. And after a while, everybody would, you know, sometimes everybody was behaving, and so they would all compete to be the UO. You know,
Yeah.
they would do silly things like stock the cups almost full, but not quite, just enough to annoy me, you know, that kind of stuff. So it did backfire a little bit. But that also means they were doing their job, and I can take some heckling. But Paul, in a way, is calling them people out, you know, saying some of you are undisciplined, no work at all, acting like busybodies. So I think that work in quiet, I think we did a good job discussing that. There's multiple elements to that, you know. Now, verse 13 says, "But as for you, brethren, do not grow weary of doing good." So in the context of all this, isn't it easy, at least I think it is, it's easy to get discouraged.
Oh, definitely.
It's easy to be like, why am I doing this? And not only because you sometimes can't see results, but because the people around you are just trying to drag you down. You know, because that's what I think that's the context here, is that you've got these undisciplined people, these lazy people, these busybodies. It's hard to feel inspired when you're surrounded by that. On top of that, think about persecution and the difficulties these people are dealing with. I mean, it'd be easy to be wary of doing good. You know, so Paul has to bring that up and says, don't grow weary. Don't let that temptation come.
My first marriage, I went to work at, it was Banquet back then, not ConAgra. And I got to know a few of the ladies that I worked with, and they were so good to me. But there was some there that you could imagine working in a factory type. There was some there that were talked nasty and talked about everybody and would try to put you down and all. And you just stayed away from them, you know.
That's how I met Alberta Riley.
Right.
At there, and when she found out that I was from Callao, the world rose and set in me, because every time we'd go on the line, she would get to be the next person after me. She would go there and stand, and she always said, don't worry, if it's too fast, let some of them go. I'll get them. And she always did. But the poor girl, she was so sweet. She made cake and candies and cookies and brought to work. And those girls, they would be the first one to be jamming them in their mouth. But the next thing is something nasty about her coming out of their mouth. Oh, I hated that job.
Yeah.
Oh. And she tried so hard. But she had her moments too.
Yeah, she had a temper.
You know
She
what I'm
had-
talking about.
She had a
really had a
positive
temper.
attitude at times. I can remember before I had moved my store up to where it was. She would go, I
really?
think she went on a noon lunch break. I think she must have ate on her lunch break, because she'd go up the block in front of our store eating an apple or something, and she'd get to the store, she'd look for me. She
Oh,
would wave.
yeah.
I mean, she made sure that you saw that she was there, and she
Yep.
always,
She could be.
would come and just
But she
wave. And once in a while she'd come in, but most of the time she just, wanted to make sure that I knew she was there, and
Yep.
she always said hello.
Yep.
And she was very friendly and to me when I had her daughter in Sunday school. And I didn't really know her at all at that time, other than who she was, but I really didn't know her. But
Yeah. Well, it's kind of that's a good example of not growing weary of doing good, because she did that and
Oh, yeah.
people didn't
Yes.
appreciate her.
no, too
Yeah.
many didn't.
Yeah, they'd be the first one there after whatever she brought, but then they'd be talking about her.
One thing that I've discussed with my kids in the youth group is that if you are on time, if you don't complain, if you stick to your job and you do really well, you'll be hated for it. There'll be
Your
people.
coworkers.
Yep. There will be people in your coworkers who will be jealous of you
That's true.
and angry at
because
you
do.
because you're showing them up, not because you're trying to. You just are. Your very existence judges them.
And it's hard in a world of acceptance where they want to be accepted with their peers, and just for doing right, you're not.
Yeah. It's just part of success.
They don't want anybody better than they.
Right.
Working with the public.
Well, and they want the
Working with
excuse.
people is something
Yeah.
else.
When they want the excuse that when they go to their boss and say, see, none of us can do this, but then you got that one guy who can. It's like, oh, no, see, you can. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's just the way it is. Oh, boy.
When a teacher grades on a curve and then there's that one student that gets 100, you're like, why?
Yeah. And I think the only difference between like that and this situation is it's just a matter of effort,
Yeah.
That's exactly right. That's
Yeah.
just like getting on the curve or anything. Most of them that get that are smart as a bit,
Mhm.
and they study, and they put their mind to it. But
Yeah.
a lot of them don't.
Something I see with Jonathan, and I think Lane does the same thing too, but he's always got a positive attitude, but he smiles. And to me, my mother always, she was a beautician, and making women beautiful was what she thought you should do. But she says, there's nothing that you can do to make anybody prettier than a smile. You need to smile.
Yeah.
And it's unbelievable what that'll do.
Yeah.
It'll melt hearts. Those girls will melt their hearts too. Shouldn't tell you that.
Get into advice Alzheimer's job.
He's always
Soak
got
it
smiles.
in. See, it works for Paul. He's smiling.
It works on all of us, doesn't it, Paul?
But we need to do that, and sometimes I
Yes.
think being old and us being at home by ourselves, you forget sometimes too.
I think when
that's
you
just,
walk down the street or something, you smile, there's somebody coming towards you and they're kind of, you know, not smiling, and you smile at them and usually they smile back.
You know what I miss about Walmart right now? Because
Can't see smiles.
you can't smile at anybody.
that's what I'm saying, these masks.
Yeah.
They ruin that. You don't have any,
Yeah.
you can't register
You
well,
can't be
people are
personable.
responding.
It's really hard to start perfect conversations with total strangers when they can't see you smile and they can barely understand you anyway, and you can barely understand them, and you're standing 6 feet apart.
There's a company I just saw this morning on television that it's a small business that are making, you send them a picture of your face and they put it on a mask. And it's a great big smile, whatever
I've
smile
seen
you
that.
want.
I've seen
Yeah,
that.
I thought that's what I've been saying all along. I hate these masks because you can't see anybody smile.
Well, take you some paint.
Yeah, just paint it on there.
Oh my goodness. Could you imagine? Because like occasionally I'm pretty annoyed wearing a mask and my eyes are kind of like this, you know, so there'd be this giant smile and me kind of gazing around.
I thought it was a good idea.
When I was in Illinois, I couldn't find my mask for whatever reason, and so I had to take some paper towels and just wrap it around my head, and took a picture and sent it to my kids and be like, I look like I'm about to rob a bank.
That's what how you tell the difference from people nowadays. Are they a bandit or are they?
Are they good people or bad?
I kind of want a Lone Ranger mask.
Yeah.
You know?
Are you gonna wear a white hat?
A white hat? Is that
So
really-
Lone Ranger always wore a
Oh, it
white
was
hat.
Zorro who was a black hat. Yep, you're right. White hat. Lone Ranger. I got to get my
So you need a Zorro man.
mythological creatures straight.
They're
yeah.
not mythological. We remember.
Legendary. Let's say legendary.
I saw the Lone Ranger.
Okay.
Really
did
got
in
to see
person?
him. He was out in the Rose Bowl parade when I was a little girl.
Yeah, there I am.
Oh, God.
Oh, my
I wrapped
God.
shop towels in my face, and you can tell I don't look very happy about it.
Yeah.
It's pretty hard to breathe through shop towels.
It's like, what do you think I'm trying to do?
Yeah,
That's pretty funny.
I had to walk into Wendy's and try to scream through that. to
I
get
know
through.
that you can't hear well
Mhm.
through them. You can't.
I didn't realize how much I read lips until I couldn't see them.
I think we all do. I think
Yeah.
he doesn't realize how much
Right.
he
Oh,
needs
it's
to.
so frustrating. Yeah, I used to have like hour-long conversations with total strangers in Walmart, you know, trying to introduce them, you know, get them to come to church or whatever. Can't really do that right now. It's just not realistic.
I'd like those clear plastic kind that would be over.
You know, I actually bought one the other day. I haven't tried it yet.
Yeah, that, to me, that, at least you could see
You
people's
mean like
expressions.
doctors wear when they?
It's a face shield.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
kind of looks like
face
you're a
shield.
welder,
Uh-huh.
but at least I could smile at people.
Yeah, that's what I thought. You could smile. Plus, I think it'd be easier to breathe.
I think you can breathe a little welding too.
I know, it just
Yeah,
looks like it.
looks like it.
Yeah.
They say a simple way to make one is to get a headband that's real narrow and get one of these pages like you put pictures in.
Oh, yeah.
Notebook and slide it. I mean, don't put any paper in there and just put that headband in that where the, what do you call it, open the holes go on the top of it. Put that up there and you've got one made real cheap.
I use them all the time, can't even think what they're called. Envelope,
Yeah, I've got some. I've thought about doing it. I really have.
I bought a clear mask. I'm going to try it.
I'm sure that would qualify as a mask. It
Title
doesn't have
ones.
any guidelines.
I know it doesn't meet the guidelines, but
Yeah. In fact, when I went to the jail last night, there was 4 guys there because some of them don't want to come out because of COVID. And so, but we had a good conversation anyway. But we actually shook hands and we're just normal. So
visit the local guys?
the only one was out of town. Yeah, they only let me do 1 pod at a time, so it was pod D this time.
Well, you guys are really neat math if you used to read the lips.
Yeah, that's what we were talking about.
Now, that's
Yeah.
what we're,
It's
that's what we're
impossible.
talking about.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I didn't realize how much I did it. Yeah,
But you can't, I mean, even if you could get by without reading the
Maybe
list,
I'm reading,
you
I
read
don't
the
know.
expression, you don't realize it, but you read it between their eyes
Yep.
and their mouth smiling or frowning. or-
Some people smile with their eyes, you know,
Yeah,
sometimes you
yeah.
can tell.
I just got a sourpuss all the time.
Right.
Too, Linda. I'm
Yes,
not-
Well,
I'm smiling.
and Jonathan's got them dimples, you know, so you
Yeah,
can't see
yeah,
those.
yeah. Oh, those girls are gonna love that.
They
They're
do.
gonna love it.
They
Yeah.
do. Between Jonathan and Harley, I'm living with two models. So
You have them too, Josh. You got the dimples too.
I do, but none of the ladies care anymore.
No.
So, yeah. As I don't want them to. In fact, I told my boys, the moment you get married, you want to be unattractive. You don't
Yeah.
want to attract attention anymore. So,
Yeah.
You
yep.
better not. huh?
Right. That's yeah. So it's
You
real
don't want your
convenient.
wife to think you are, because
Right.
then she'll be jealous.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well. Yeah, we're past time. Well, good discussion. A little short today, but that's okay. Maybe next week we'll eat a little earlier. But up to you.
Try to get around, girl.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
just hard.
15 minutes makes a big difference.
It
So we
does.
try to all be here by 11:45 next week.
Yeah, that's.
Woo, that's ambitious.
Well, we
Well,
can
that's
have
15
everything
minutes
ready by
early, that you wanna
Then we
eat
could have
15
everything set out and everything by noon.
That'd be great. I mean, I'm not opposed. I'm saying don't kill
Well,
yourself.
don't count on it, Tim.
Now, don't put your,
If we eat at 12:25 next week, it's still an improvement.
I'm realistic. No, I'm realistic. I know who we're working with.
It's like several years ago, I stopped telling Kara first of the year, boy, I'm going to go to the YMCA. I'm like, no, I don't do it. It doesn't happen. So, yep. Well, hope it works out for you. All right. Well, Alex, would you close us in prayer?
Father, thank you for allowing us to be able to be here, be able to eat some good food, have some good laughs, and also be able to study your word and be able to apply it to our lives today. Just be with us throughout the rest of the week, and love you in Jesus Christ, I pray. Amen.
Amen. Everybody say bye.
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 So what are we studying once you get done with the next 4 verses?
Well, actually, I was going to bring that up. Now, I know it's a little long, but we haven't done a gospel in this group of yet.
have done a lot.
We haven't done a gospel.
That'd be good. I like
Matthew, Mark, Luke. I'm preaching through John, so we probably won't do John. But Mark's the shortest of the 3 gospels. Luke's the longest. I don't know if anybody has a preference, but
I'm teaching Luke next. Dude, Luke.
oh,
You can write my
take my
lessons for me.
material. Yeah. All right, so not Luke. Well, anyway, I'll probably do a gospel. So that's probably the plan.
Matthew and Mark, right?
Yep, pretty
Yeah,
much.
There's only 2 left then.
Yep. If I'm gonna make a choice, it'll probably be Mark. It's kind of my favorite.